Hey sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I put together a list of 100 cards for $100,000 that I've been chipping away at for a little over 2 years now. Well, it's to the point where I've picked up all the low-hanging fruit, and the cards that remain for me to pick up off that list are getting more and more expensive. So I'm not able to pick up as many as often as I did when I first started that project. Now, I'm going to continue to try to chip away at that list over time, but in the meantime, about a month ago, I put together another 100 card list, this one 100 cards for $10,000. So obviously each card on that list averages about $100. Some a little bit less, some a little bit more. But with my current hobby budget, they're cards that I fully expect at some point to be able to pick up all 100 cards. Now in this video, I want to show off the first card that I've picked up off that list, and it's one that I'm really excited to finally add to my collection. Now, this particular card checks off a couple boxes. Obviously, it's on this 100 cards for $10,000 list, but it also is a card that goes toward one of the player runs that I'm working on, and one that after I picked up this card, I know I'm going to be able to complete at some point this year. And it's a card that I have been searching for easily for over a year. Just haven't been able to find the right copy at the right price point. This particular card is really hard to find, well centered, and without any ink marks or other some print defects. Really hard to find. Like I said, well centered especially. And when you do, it's usually graded an 8 or a 9, and they go for a lot more than I wanted to spend on this particular card. So I finally found one that to me is centered great and didn't break the bank. Now, when I put this 100 cards for $10,000 list together, in order to average, $100 per card, I had to put some cards in a particular grade to make sure everything added up to $10,000. But my ultimate goal for this list not only is to pick up all 100 cards, but is to not spend the full $10,000, to try to spend as much, under that as possible. And when putting the list together, I had to choose some certain PSA grades that were a certain price, but I'm not holding myself to picking up cards in those particular grades. And this is one example here. I had it at a higher grade and a higher expected cost for me. I was able to pick this one up in a just one grade lower. So the cards on this list, the number grade is not important to me. It's being able to pick up the card within my budget and fitting within the overall $10,000 budget that I set for myself. So again, I found a really nice copy, a grade 1 number grade below what I have on my list, but was able to save a lot of money compared to what I had originally budgeted that I would need to spend for this card. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show off card number 1 on my list of 100 cards for $10,000. Here it is, card number 1 on my list, and it's the 1977 Topps Thurman Munson. This one has been so hard for me to find. I've been particularly picky when it comes to this card. So often you see examples that are really off center, mainly left to right, some top to bottom, some a combination. And whenever I see a card that has been this well centered, it's at least a 7 or an 8. And I had this card on my list in a 7. because again, those were the grades that I had seen. Well-centered copies at a minimum going for, but I found this PSA 6 and it is perfectly fine with me. Another thing that this card suffers for is usually down the right side of his face. There just seems to be some print issues there. Sometimes there's some ink marks around his chin, and usually around the Yankees you get some of the sort of the orange bleeding over, and it's like I don't know, the registration's off, but this one, it checks all the boxes. Now down here, there's a very common sort of, it looks like a hair on the card, but it just got sort of on the printing plate, I think. Doesn't bother me at all, but that's a common little print error for these Munsons. But man, even the back is really nice as well. Just, oh, so happy to finally add this Thurman Munson to my collection, which now leaves only the 1973 Topps for me to complete the Thurman Munson playing day run. So just one more card to go. So I definitely know that I can pick up or complete his playing day run this year with just one card to go. This was the big obstacle. This was always the big obstacle in the Munson run for me. I didn't want to settle. I mean, it's a 1977 Topps card. You would think that it wouldn't be that hard to find a decently centered card, but maybe because of where his card landed on the sheet, that was very prone to off-centering. But anyway, just so happy to have this card now finally in my collection. Now, as I've been doing with the 100 cards for $100,000, as I pick up each card, I'm going to give you sort of like a running total of where I am in terms of what I thought I would have to spend for those cards up to that point, and how much I actually spent, to see hopefully how under budget I can get. So this particular card, as I mentioned on my list, was originally a PSA 7. So I picked this up in a PSA 6, and I originally budgeted a PSA 7 to cost me all in around $75. Well, this PSA 6 all in only cost me $35. That's with shipping, with tax, and I can't remember. I think this was maybe a buy it now. And as soon as I saw this one, it did not last very long as a new listing, because I snatched it up pretty much as soon as I saw it, because I knew that this was the copy for me. And so already right off the bat, I am $40 under what I had expected to pay for this card. So I'm off to a good start. And to give you a little bit of foreshadowing, I have already acquired card number 2 off my list, so expect another video showing off the second card that I've picked up on this list. So I think this is going to be a really fun list to work off of. Hopefully I can chip away at some of those at the Strongsville show. I'm going to try to leave probably the more expensive cards to when I go to the National. I just like to, pick up maybe some bigger cards at that show. But there you have it. Card number 1 on my list of 100 cards for $10,000. Would love to know what you think about the card. And if you want to know which cards make up the 100 cards for $10,000 list, there's a video over here that you can check it out, as well as the latest 100 cards for $100,000 video that I did showing off the latest pickup on that project. With that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.